These days, data is as important a commodity as the air we breathe and the water we drink. Bits and bytes are changing the way businesses compete and even the way we live our lives. And it's evolving every day. The real question is, what data? What data helps us to fuel our knowledge, grow our businesses, and make our lives even better? That's what we're here to find out. I'm Steve Keniston. Welcome to Data Unknown. Ian Barrett is a longtime friend and one of the most interesting people I know. He and his wife Erin run Mediaboss TV. Ian makes TV commercials, documentaries, music, and high-tech corporate videos. I'm talking capturing the essence of both who and what you do in hundreds of gigabytes of video and audio data, and turning that into your why you do what you do. And no one is as passionate about helping people find their why as Ian Barrett.
I shot Super 8 film when I was 8 years old. I have a camera that my mom had. I couldn't afford the film because I had a paper out at the time. So I would shoot animation. Just decided that was going to be my career.
So take me through that. I mean, you shoot a lot of video, right? And in the day, when you were shooting video, I mean, you talk about shooting on Super 8, so that was film, but then you started going digital, collecting that data. How has that data profile changed over the course of your career?
Well, the biggest thing about the data that you have to understand with regard to my industry is that it's always about resolution. Everybody wants to go to the next level as quickly as possible. And we, as a production company, have gone through every single evolution of that. When we first started, you could get away with having, 30 gigabytes of storage, and you could be editing with 30 gigabytes of storage.
Today.
Now I have 8 terabyte drives on my desktop. One of my systems is just 6 8-terabyte drives just for that one system.
I just heard last week the petabyte is the new terabyte, right?
Right.
And I remember when the terabyte was the new gigabyte, right?
Right.
So, I mean, and that's in my lifetime.
Right.
Storage has gone from the 1950s, where 5 gigabytes had to be transported by plane and cost $3,200 a month just to rent, to an age where we can store 360 terabytes in a square inch in 5 dimensions. All of this in just 60 short years. When you first started shooting video, let's say you do a 4-hour video shoot, how much capacity would that chew up?
It depends on what you're doing. We're looking at projects that are maybe a minimum of 40 gigabytes to do something. That was more storage than I had on my entire first system of computing, and this is what I do on a shoot now, is come away with 40 gigabytes of stuff. What was 40 when you started could go 400 very easily. We have to keep a full res file. We keep a master in case it ever goes to broadcast. So, it lives in multiple different sizes.
So it's not just about saying one show is 2 gigabytes and you shot 40 gigabytes worth of stuff. Netflix has approximately 9,000 titles, and each one of those titles has to be encoded in 10 different ways to ensure proper streaming to your home whenever you need. And if you think about that, a high-definition movie uses 3 gigabytes per hour for each data stream. Netflix uses up to 50% of the internet bandwidth every day. So how has the advent of both corporate video as well as what other things are going on out there changed and evolved in your business?
The quality of what we're doing has gone way up. We treat every single project like it's a television show. Competition and performance are two of the biggest things. We're always striving to be 1 increment better or 1 minute faster in everything that we do.
That sounds a lot like F1 racing.
Well, it's funny you should mention it, because that's a passion for me, and it's something that everybody in the company enjoys. So racing is absolutely a philosophy that we build ourselves around. In fact, I want to take you racing today.
I've known Ian for a lot of years, and he has often compared business to F1 racing. Competition in business is decided in a second and is based on as much data as you can process, as quickly as you can process it, just like Formula One.
The whole thing is about optimizing things to the ultimate degree. Here we are, man. This is the place I'm taking you. F1 Boston. Come on.
Right side nice and slow, no speeding, no passing. Guys is down. You guys all set.
Steve, I don't know, he's getting out of the car a little slow.
That was awesome.
There's 1,000 things to think about while you're going around. Like, how are you going to go through this corner, and how are the tires feeling, because they warm up over time, and then there's adjustments to make. And these are go-karts, right? Now you take this and you put this on a Ferrari, or you put this on a McLaren, and all of a sudden you're saying, wow, I mean, there are 4,000 adjustable surfaces in this scenario. What do I fix first? What's going to change this? What's the dynamic going to be? And then what's the history of every single race at this track? And what's the temperature? What's the track temperature? Is it raining? Is it not?
About all the Formula One data that gets captured and goes back to, as we were talking about, back to the centers in England, or the people who sign the cars.
Well, that, yeah.
Take it even beyond just the Formula guys. I mean, how does that translate into the cars that we buy today?
Well, all the technology and all the data is why you have keyless ignition right now. This is why you have paddle shifters on your car. This is why you have energy recovery systems now in vehicles, because one of the things they found out in Formula One was that you waste all this energy stopping the car. It takes a ton of power to get it to go 190, 225 miles an hour, but it takes an incredible amount of energy to get it to stop or go to 40 miles an hour. What happens to that energy? It goes nowhere. Well, what if we captured that energy and reused it? Well, it's not a simple, how do you even start with that? And that's where all the, so how big does the box need to be? How much power does it need to store? How does it release it? How do we make this happen? And that's all data.
Where are you taking me to now?
Okay, so now that the racing's done, let's check out some of the places I used to make my old TV show in Boston.
Let's check it out.
All right.
So this is your old stomping grounds, huh, Ian?
Yeah, we're actually driving through what used to be territory for me. Here in Kenmore Square, they used to have a bunch of clubs. They used to have a place called The Rat over here, the Raskeller. A lot of great bands used to play there, Talking Heads, every cool band used to play over there. Now it's this beautiful hotel. They used to have celebrations and lipsticks here, the Lipstick. As a matter of fact, that's the first place that New Kids on the Block ever played, was right over here. We're making a left here, and we're heading towards Fenway Park, and there are a bunch of clubs that exist down there, but they've changed over the years.
We're on Lansdowne Street. This is like the biggest street in Boston. That's Fenway Park.
You got the Green Monster,
there. The Green
right?
Monster's right there,
Right there.
right? And then right across the street was what this used to be called Mamakin. Aerosmith bought this place and made it into a cool club. This was the front room, and then they had the music hall, and then that was a club called Avalon. So when the bigger bands came into town, they'd go there, and when the smaller bands would play inside here. As a matter of fact, when this place opened up, I shot the whole party with Aerosmith and everybody for E, which was a brand new network at that time.
So how many episodes do you think you have on TV or on film?
I shot 257 episodes of my show.
How much data did you do? Just take a ballpark wild guess. I know you talked, this whole day we've talked about quality, audio.
Carts of videotape. Because remember, each show isn't just one tape.
Right.
It's multiple tapes, and then it's other audio sources, and it's DVDs and video, or the music video from the band. All that stuff is coming in to make it happen.
So tell me what you miss most about the whole music scene and shooting video and all
well,
that stuff.
It's funny. What I miss the most about being here at the music hall, when this was Mama King, this was set up to be like New Orleans, and this has got a balcony over the top where you could hang out, that type of thing. I actually shot my first live television show right here, and I had a satellite truck right where this car is right now. And I shot the show live, and we beamed the entire show to a satellite and got a downlink to the television station that was based in Needham at the time. And everybody got to see it on TV in Boston. Getting here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and not leaving here until 3 in the morning, right? 12 hours in the same place just to get 5 minutes of footage per show. Yeah.
Pretty unreal.
Yeah. Inside that other truck right now is a whole
control panel, editing console. So there's a director up there who's going to be switching cameras and doing a live mastered cut inside that truck right now.
It'd be cool to find out how many cameras, how much video, what they're going to capture.
Well, it's insane. If they're shooting it in 4K and there's 10 cameras there.
And that's not unheard of for a show.
No, that's nothing. I've shot shows where we had 26 cameras all shooting HD at the same time. And you have an individual deck capturing all the footage for each camera. And then you need to be able to do an instant replay and share that video moment, like seconds after it's shot. So, and then you're creating two different feeds, one for the international feed and one for the domestic broadcast, one with this music that's licensed and one with stuff that's not licensed.
Think they have any like storage on that truck there?
There's massive hard drives on there right now capturing all this stuff, because that's the whole reason you bring a truck like this in, is that these guys are not only capturing it on their cameras, but they're rolling all that audio and all that video back to hard drives and decks on that truck right now, because you're going to do a live cut, but you're going to keep all that footage later on to edit post-production.
And they're going to manage it, they got to back it up.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good storage story right
Sounds like a good high-paying gig. I wish I had it.
What's next?
Well, we're not done.
Is there anything yet?
We're not done. Let's go get a beer.
Let's go get a beer.
Let's go get a beer.
It wouldn't be a day with you without going to get a beer.
You and I have been around the world, and we've had beers pretty much everywhere, but I don't think I'm taking you to my favorite beer place, and let's do that next.
Let's do that next.
All right.
We're right now at Jack's Abbey Craft Lager brewery and restaurant, basically. So behind us is the massive 56,000 square foot brewery, and right now they're poised to be one of the largest brewers in Massachusetts.
How'd you get to know these guys?
When we first met these guys, we were talking about the power of video in sales and marketing, and we started producing videos for them. We're actually shooting their monthly videos where we talk about the new beers that are coming out, talk about what's going on at the brewery, and this goes out via Instagram, via YouTube, on their Facebook page to communicate with the people who like their beers here and around the world.
Social media is becoming a much bigger part of the whole craft brew movement. Just as an example, the Untappd app allows beer enthusiasts to find nearby beers or breweries, look at what brew is top rated and trending, and try new things. You can socialize with it, you can socialize with others, grow your beer badge ranking, and boy, let me tell you, Ian isn't kidding about this place. Jack's Abbey has been at its new location for just 5 months, and already they have over 300,000 check-ins to their place and people rating and sharing beer info on the app. It's pretty impressive, and no wonder they are the second largest brewery in Massachusetts. I remember you telling me about, I don't know, how many hours of video do you have shooting, just pouring the beer into a glass, and then how did you find out that's like the thing?
So I'm going to pour it for you, but the irony of this is that I'm doing this, and it doesn't matter how it looks, but when I do it for video, it does matter how it looks. And we'll sit there and pour and pour and pour again until we get it right. But what we found out through our research and after posting these videos online was that people really like to see the pours, and that's because we do analytics. So every single time we make a video, we take all the knowledge from the past video and we incorporate it in the future video, which takes the whole video program higher and increases the sharing, because that's the goal.
You know I love beer, so you're right, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Salud, man. Very good.
That's amazing.
That's a very good
That's
beer.
amazing. And this is the craft lagers that they create here. It's that reputation that they have. Our job with the video is to tell the story of the beer, because it's not, by the time it gets to your glass, there are literally thousands of hours that went into making it to get it to that point. And when you share the story of what it took to craft something like this, people appreciate it that much more. And that's what I love about our job.
How does a brewery use data? I found it pretty interesting what you were telling me.
Well, it's funny that you should mention that, because when they first started here, they were hand measuring everything, taking bags, pouring them into cups, and then putting them inside their into the tanks. This entire process here is completely automated now, which means that they can brew 24 hours a day. And of course, there's going to be an IT department that's behind the beer. So
can you believe that, an IT department in a brewery?
Exactly.
That's pretty fantastic.
And in order to keep the consistency, to make everything perfect, to adjust for temperature, to adjust for ingredients, it's all computer controlled now, and that's so you can keep the consistency in the glass.
And you've taken me around Boston. You've shown me some really great times. It's clear, just in this one industry vertical, that data has a huge impact on people's lives. I want to thank you very much for sharing this with me. This was fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Data is all around us in many forms: pictures, video, audio, telemetry, all over. It's pretty clear that data is shaping how every business thinks about how they operate, and figuring out what to do with it isn't getting any easier. These are just a few more examples of how data is having a profound effect on the world in which we live. This is Data Unknown.
Speaking of data, I couldn't help but notice that I had the fastest lap time.
Yeah, you did. You probably have a little bit more experience than I do, but yeah, you pretty much kicked my ass.
Cheers.
Cheers.